All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about one of the most misunderstood and honestly one of the most critical parts of any solar installation, grounding. It's a topic that's just packed with hidden dangers that can take a perfectly good system and turn it into a silent, ticking time bomb.
And I want to kick things off with this because it just cuts right to the chase. We're not talking about some little error that might knock a few percentage points off your efficiency. No. These are mistakes that create these invisible highways for absolute disaster, just waiting in the background of a project that you've poured your heart, your time, and your money into. So let's get into what makes this so uniquely dangerous. It's this whole idea of an invisible threat. And that is the real kicker. A system with a lethal grounding flaw can look perfect. It can work for years, churning out power, looking great on the roof. But the very second a wire inside frays or insulation cracks from the sun, that hidden mistake becomes an instant, life-threatening risk of shock or fire. You see why understanding this isn't just important, it's a matter of life and death. Okay, so to really get a handle on the mistakes, you have to first understand the one golden rule. And I want you to forget everything you thought you knew about just connecting to the earth. The best way to think about grounding is as the system's emergency exit for electricity that's gone rogue.
Its one job, its only job during a fault, is to provide a super easy, super low resistance path, like a giant empty freeway, for a massive surge of current to travel safely away from you and your equipment. This forces a breaker to trip, shutting everything down instantly. It has nothing to do with day-to-day operation. It's all about that one critical moment when things go wrong. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. With good grounding, a fault happens, there's a huge rush of current, and bang, the breaker trips, problem solved. But with bad, high-resistance grounding, only a little trickle of current flows. Now here's the scary part. It's not enough current to trip the breaker, but it's more than enough to make every single metal surface live with electricity, creating a silent, lethal hazard just waiting for someone to touch it.
Okay, you with me? The golden rule is that grounding is the emergency exit. Now that we've got that locked in, let's get into the main event. We're going to walk through the 8 most common and deadly mistakes that people make, the ones that basically lock that emergency exit and create these silent hazards. First up is the most obvious one and, frankly, the most terrifying. No grounding at all. If you don't build that safety path in the first place, then a simple frayed wire can make the entire metal frame of your panels and racking live with deadly voltage. And if you touch it, your body becomes the emergency exit. That's a direct and very severe electric shock.
Now this one is way more insidious. High-resistance grounding. We're talking about a loose connection, a bit of rust on a clamp, a wire that's just a little too thin. Any of these things can create resistance. This basically chokes the flow of fault current, keeping it so low that the breaker never even notices there's a problem. But meanwhile, all that metal is sitting there, dangerously energized.
And it all just boils down to some pretty simple physics. Ohm's law. Current equals voltage divided by resistance. So if that R for resistance is high because of, say, a corroded connection, then the resulting current, I, is going to be low. Breakers are designed to see high current, so this low current fault just flies completely under the radar.
All right, mistake number 3 is a failure to bond everything together. Now, bonding is just a fancy word for making sure every single metal part in your system, the panel frames, the mounting rails, the inverter case itself, are all electrically connected into one continuous path. Think of it like a chain. If you have a great ground connection on one end, but one of the links in the chain is missing, another part of that chain can become dangerously live, totally defeating the entire safety system.
Now for a much more subtle killer, ground loops. This happens when you ground your system in more than one place. And I know, it sounds safer, right? More grounds must be better. Nope, it's actually worse. It creates a loop where tiny differences in voltage can cause current to constantly circulate through your safety wires. This generates heats day in and day out and creates a very real long-term fire risk. The rule is simple. Single point grounding, always. Oh man, this one is so common, especially with inverters. Your neutral wire and your ground wire should be connected or bonded at only one single point in the entire system. That's it. If you bond them at the inverter and again at your main panel, you've just turned your ground wire into a highway for normal operating current. Ground wires are not designed for that. They're the emergency lane. Forcing traffic down that lane causes them to overheat and they can become a fire hazard all on their own.
Okay, let's switch gears for a second and talk about the DC side of things, because it has its own set of dangers. A lot of modern solar systems are designed to be floating, all that means is that neither the positive nor the negative wire is supposed to be connected to ground. But if you get an accidental nick in a wire's insulation, suddenly one side gets grounded. This can create really unstable voltages and super unpredictable shock risks. And what's worse, DC faults can create these nasty electrical arcs that are way harder to put out than AC arcs.
This one is so critical. Your grounding wire has to be big enough to handle a gigantic surge of fault current without just vaporizing. If that wire is too small, it'll basically act like a fuse during a major fault. It will get red hot, melt its own insulation, and can easily start a fire, all before the breaker even has time to trip. The safety system itself becomes the source of the fire. And this little formula shows you why. Power, which is just heat in this case, equals the current squared times the resistance. That little squared symbol is the villain here. It means that when the fault current skyrockets, the heat generated in that undersized wire goes up exponentially. It's an incredible fire risk. And finally, grounding isn't just about faults happening inside your system. A nearby lightning strike can push a massive voltage surge into your array. Without a really good direct path to the earth, where do you think all that energy is going to go? You guessed it, right through your very expensive inverter and other electronics, frying them in an instant.
Okay, wow, that was a lot of doom and gloom, I know. But here's the good news. We know the problems, so let's talk about the solutions. Getting this right really just comes down to following a clear, actionable checklist.
All right, here it is, your practical checklist. Let's run through it. First, install a proper earth electrode. That's your ground rod, the system's final connection to planet Earth. 2, use correctly sized conductors. Remember that fire risk? This prevents it. 3, bond all your metal components. Remember our chain analogy? This is you making sure every link is connected. 4, ensure a single grounding point. This is how you avoid those dangerous heat-generating ground loops. 5, verify that neutral to ground bond, one spot and one spot only. 6, check all connections for tightness and corrosion. A loose or rusty clamp is just a high-resistance fault waiting to happen. And finally, number 7, test the continuity of the whole system. You get out a multimeter and you physically check that there is a solid electrical path from the farthest panel all the way back to your ground rod. This is your proof that the emergency exit is clear.
So let's wrap this up. The key takeaway is this. Grounding isn't an optional extra. It isn't about performance. It is the absolute, fundamental, non-negotiable last line of defense for your entire investment, and, way more importantly, for the safety of anyone who goes near it. And I want to leave you with this final thought, because it says it all. A properly grounded system does its job completely unseen, day after day, just waiting for a fault that might never even happen. But an improperly grounded system also sits there silently, waiting for that exact same fault to cause an absolute catastrophe. The silence is what makes it so dangerous.
So I've got a question for all of you. Whether it's in your own projects or just systems you've seen out in the wild, what's the most common grounding mistake that you've run into? Let's get a conversation going about these real-world examples down in the comments. Thanks for tuning in.